everybody, this is Laura and welcome to my channel. I am going to do a little process video, if you will, tutorial on something that I've been making for the last couple of days and I am so loving them. Before I get to that, I want to thank two people's videos that I saw and I was inspired by. The first is Little Hot Tamale and the second is Unknown Author. They both did videos on tassel making, and what I did was I incorporated some of Little Hot Tamale's know-how and some of the Unknown Author, combined them both and came out with my version of tassels. Before I get to the tutorial, I did want to share with you guys some of the little tassels that I made. Now some of them do have clasp and lobster claws on them. Some do not, and the reason for that is some of them I will be sharing with some friends. Some of them I don't know what projects I'll be using them for, so I like to leave them without a clasp, only because it might go for a pocket letter and I can do that with a ribbon, depending on, you know, what I use it for. So let me just move this over and share with you some of the ones that I made and some of the different colors that I made them in. I will tell you guys, I started making these and then I got addicted. Yes, some I made short, some I made long. I just couldn't help myself. However, I did come across some snafus. I also came across some other stuff that I do want to share with you because I did not know certain things, and you know, why not share that knowledge, right? Because had it not been for those two ladies sharing their knowledge with me, I wouldn't know the first thing about tassel making either. So these are just some of the colors I made. This pretty teal. And I am really into my gold right now, as is everyone else in the community, but I am really, really, really loving the gold. So I went in my stash and pulled out all my gold beads, my gold rings, because these are I'm doing in gold, but the other ones I will do in silver as well. I don't know if you can see the little butterfly. I really love the way that one came out. Yeah, my daughter already has her little sticky fingers. She wants to kidnap some of the tassels. I think she wants to put one on her book bag and the other one on her cell phone. So let me share with you what I have found so far. But before I get to that, I'm going to pause you for 1 second. Okay, so I may have to pause you again because that was hubby on the phone. He's on his way home from work. So I was making the tassels. And I was very happy making the tassels, and I started running out of the threads that I was using for the tassels, because what the thread I have in my stash, and let me share with you first what I'm saying, because that way I don't sound like a little yammering idiot. The thread that I had in my stash is this thread. This is what it looks like. It usually comes with two little papers, and it's embroidery floss, I guess is what they call it. It's called Craft Thread, and it's by Prism. I also have some by Iris, and they also call theirs Craft Thread or Needle Thread. And this is what it looks like, and I just want to share something with you. Do you see what that thread looks like? Now, I use this instead of baker's twine, like for cards or projects. This is the thread that I use. I love it. It's thick. It's pearlized. It has like a pearlized sheen color to it. I just love it. Anyways, after making a few tassels, I realized I'm going to want to make a lot more tassels. I need some more thread. So I went on eBay to purchase some threads. And this is just in case you want to make some tassels, so the same thing doesn't happen to you that happened to me. Went on eBay, and me trying to be a little frugal, I saw some threads from China. Embroidery thread is the way they listed it. And this is the way they looked. Now, looking at it, I figured, yeah, that's what I need. And I picked up a big bag of this thread. It did cost, I want to say $4 or $5 cheaper than the bag of prism or iris thread, but when it came in, and I made some tassels out of it anyway, because I was going to be darned if I wasn't going to use that thread and let it go to waste. First thing is, this is not the same quality of thread. This is actually string. And I don't know if you can see. Now, I know how to do needlepoint, but I am not what I would call an embroidery person or a craft thread person. I don't do counter cross stitch. I do the stamped one. I think I did it once and that was it. I do love needlepoint. I do needlepoint, but that's about all I do. I don't really do much more of that. And so I didn't realize that there was a really big difference between this thread and this thread. And I'm going to tell you what, when it comes up to threading these little jewels here, you're going to want the prism or the iris, not this stuff. Because these do come apart. They fall apart. They're very, very hard to manipulate inside the beads. It takes forever. It can be done. I will show you the tassels that I made with this thread, but in comparison, and you know, the sad part is, for me, I think it makes a better tassel, but it's so much more harder to work with than this one. But if you can see the difference, and I'm going to bring that really close, this is what the little body of the tassel looks like with the prism or the iris thread, and this is that little, I call it the knockoff thread. And this is what that one looks like. And I'm not sure if you're going to pick up on it. But like I said, this is more like sewing thread. Like the thread you would use in a sewing machine. The only thing is, I guess they twisted it all up together to make the long threads for, I guess it's to separate it easier for counter cross stitch. I'm not sure. All I know is this is also some of that thread from China. You really don't want to use that kind of thread. If you want to make it a lot easier on yourself, don't get the thread from China. Get the prism or the iris thread. It works so much more better. So, okay, so that little warning aside, I decided, since I'm having so much fun making these, I wanted to make one with you. And so I'm going to show you how I start. First, I take off all the little tabbies off. The little paper tabbies, and then, and this I learned from the unknown author, you try to find that place where the threads meet, and here we go. And this is what she's talking about. See where that thread ends? The other one will probably meet right there with it. You see how that is? Those two end pieces. So that's the point where I use, and I cut that in half. Now, the unknown author, she takes one of these and she makes two. I don't do that. I make three because, again, I'm a little bit more frugal. I don't want to waste that much thread. I will take out two of the long pieces and put them to the side so that I can tie up my tassel, and that you'll see in a sec. And then I take my beautiful, not too shabby card, any business card, and this part I got from Little Hot Tamale. She wraps it around. I'm not going to wrap it around. I'm just going to do half and half. And the reason I do this is because I'm actually going to make 3 tassels out of this one skin. Now this here is considered a skin of thread. Most of the other girls make 2 tassels. I'm going to make 3. So basically what I'm doing is, by using my business card, I am going to cut these in thirds. I did one with the business card, and then I'll just take the other one and I will cut it in half and try to keep it even to the best of my ability. I'm going to put the other 2 aside for now. Now, to make these tassels, you're going to need your thread. You're going to need some lobster clasp. That's what that is. You're going to need some jump rings like these. I have some in various sizes. You can use any size you want. you're going, well, I'm using some, oh my goodness, some bead caps, some spacer beads. Those are spacer beads and bead caps. You're also going to need some beads. The bigger, I think, the better, because when you do choose your beads, you want to try to choose beads that have a significantly large hole, like so. You don't want anything with a really, really tiny hole, because it's going to be a pain in the neck to try to thread it through. You're also going to want to use some tapestry needles, and I'll show you what for in a moment. And you're going to want some, and this is just me, like I said, being inspired by the other two ladies, some gold metallic thread. And this is what I have. And I just picked this up on eBay as well. And last but not least, you will need the flathead jewelry tools. These are not tweezers. Why did I think tweezers? Pliers, flathead pliers. I don't know if they call them flat nose or flatheads, but little jewelry pliers. And the flat ones, I would definitely do the flathead ones. So let's get started. Now that I cut this, the first thing that I am going to do, actually, you know what? I want to do white. And the reason I'm going to do the white one is because it's going to be a lot easier for me to match some beads. And these extra pieces, yes, these are. And I think it'll show up a lot better on camera as well. Now, I pre-cut this one, and I'm just untying the string that I need to tie it up. Okay, so there we go. I already have my string that I'm going to cut in half to bind the pieces together. So okay, I put the one long string to the side, and now I have my little bundle that I cut in thirds here. Now what I'm going to do is choose the color beads that I want. And like I said, the bigger the hole, the better. Because I am doing this on video, I'm going to choose something with a very big hole, because it's a lot easier for me to manipulate. And I also use, I'm going to share that with you now too, I also use my flower mat, because I find that it helps me, this little foam mat, it helps me with the beads. Oh my, look at this. I grabbed one that deformed. It's two stuck in one. Oh, how funny is that? I wonder if they both opened. Yeah, it is. Maybe I should use this. I am going to use it. I just think it's unusual and cute, so now I'm going to use it. What you want to do is you want to take that long piece of string that you put to the side. Do you remember that I asked you to put two of the longs when we first, with our first cut, when we first, gosh almighty, I am a horrible teacher. The first two strings that we put to the side, you're going to fold them in half, and you're going to snip them, and this is what we're going to use to bind the tassel together. So you should have a total of 4. Now if you remember, we made 3 little piles, so you're going to have an extra one. The reason I do that is because this one piece is a little bit longer than the stack. I don't know if you can see that, but you see how this is a little bit longer? You want that extra room for beading and for tying and for knotting, and that's why I do that. So see how this one is longer? Yeah, okay, I think now you understand. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I am going to fold it in half, and this is the one we're going to use to thread our beads. And I like to, now my hands are pretty bad today, guys, so I may go a little bit slower than I need to. So for that I do apologize. And the reason I have my embroidery needles, which right now seem to have escaped me, here they are, is I use the head of the needle, and I have a really big one. I think this might be a size 16. I use that to help push the string through the bead, and I don't know if you can see how that just helped me out there. And this is what you want. Now see, this did it very easily because I have the iris and the prism thread. Had I used that other thread, oh my goodness, it falls apart. It's hard. Believe me when I tell you, it's just horrible. It is just a big hot mess. That other thread, I can do it, it just takes me forever. It would not have gone through so easily like I just did now. Now I'm going to take a little gold bead and I'm going to put that one through as well. And this one's going to take me a little bit longer because the hole is so much smaller. So I noticed these tassels are being used a lot in the pocket letter pages and the flip books. I just love the tassels. I like them for mini albums. Also, they're being used for art journals, especially those faux Bonicis and all those other ones. I think they make a great accent piece to those art journals and stuff like that. They're a lot of fun to look at. Okay, so now that I have my little beads that I want to use, I am going to put a jump ring inside that loop, and that's going to hold the beads in place and stop them from slipping out. So let us get one of these jump rings. You're going to want to open it up just a little because it is string. It's not like it's anything thick. You're going to put the jump ring through like I did here. See that? But you want to make sure, now you see, because my threads came apart while beading, you want to make sure that you get every single thread in there. And then you're going to close it. And remember, you have to close this nice because it is thread that you're using, and if you leave any openings on the jump rings, the thread is going to come through and it's going to fall off. Then you're going to have a nice little hot mess. When you finish attaching the jump ring, you just want to push the beads up, and there you go. And that's what you're going to use to hang it. And see, the thread is here. I just took the beads, and this is trying to show you here. This is what the jump ring looked like, and then I just push all the beads forward, and it kind of hides the string now. Now that I did that part, I'm going to open up these two pieces of string, the two pieces of threads. I'm going to take my little stack, put it like so in the middle, and just eyeball it and try to have it somewhere in the middle, like so. And I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm happy with that, and I'm going to knot this. I'm going to make 2 knots. And this is my first one. Nice and tight, or as tight as you can. And then I'll make another one just to secure it. And this is why you want to try to use the same color string so that you can't tell. And if for some reason you feel like I did, I have a lot more string on this side than this side, you can still kind of pull it through and just maneuver it so that it's right in the halfway mark there. And my knot is a little loose. Like I said, my hands are pretty bad today, guys, so I can't pull too tight. But that's what you want to do. Then once you've knotted it, fold it over like so that it looks, and then you want to, what I call, comb it out with your fingers. And you just want to make it nice and pretty, have all the threads facing down all the same way. You also want to try to cover this little piece here a little bit. You don't want that to show too much. Now this is a little bit looser And I usually make mine because, like I said, my hands are pretty bad today. But I wanted to share this tutorial now. So now you have that there. Now this is where the gold thread comes in. You're going to grab your gold thread, and I leave at least 6 to 7 inches, you know, to manipulate and play with. What I do is I grab it, the tassel like so right here. I will take my gold thread and I will just start winding it around the top part of this tassel. And this is going to take quite a few twirls on my part, only because I don't have very thick gold thread. Now, I don't know how thick you can find the gold thread, but since I have to put it through a tapestry needle just to secure it, I didn't want it too thick, so I just ordered gold thread, and that's what I got. And this gold thread is the same as the regular sewing thread. The only thing, it has metallic pieces, so it does make it a little bit prettier, but it's just as thin as regular sewing thread, and I can really easily snap this if I'm not careful and I pull too tight. So you want to wrap it around your thread as many times as you like until you're satisfied with the little gold band. And I just love that little detail of the gold thread. It makes for a really nice band. It almost looks like it's a little piece of jewelry that you have there. Once I'm satisfied with how many times I've wrapped it around, then I'm going to measure, and that's why I leave a nice long piece, about 6 or 7 inches off the other end. I'm going to gather the 2 pieces that I have, try to make them even, and I'm just going to snip that there. I think this is the hardest part of this whole tassel making, is trying to thread the darn needle. That's why I have a long one and a, I'm sorry, not a long one, one with a really big fat head and one with a smaller head. Now, I do use the smaller head one only because if I use the big fat one, it leaves a really big space and it doesn't make it look as pretty as the smaller one. So I'm just going to have to do my best. And because I'm threading 2 of the strands and it's metallic, it is a pain in the butt sometimes. But it loves me today because I'm on camera. So this is the part I learned from Little Hot Tamale, and I did not know this. When you are sewing your threads, you want to tuck it into the opposite side of where you pulled your thread. So if your thread strings, you were winding it this way, you want to make the thread now go that way, and that will automatically make a knot and it will not unravel. So I'm just going to pull that through like so, and see what that did. It disappeared in there. And I'm going to do it one more time, going the opposite way this time. So basically what I did was I did one this way and then I did one coming back this way. And then I tuck it in and I hide it. And now I am just going to go and snip that piece of gold thread there, the little leftovers, and believe me, that's not coming apart. And you see, now you have a little gold thread coming around, and if there's still a teeny tiny little thread there, because I am working in the dark, just snip it with the scissors, and there you go. Now you want to make it all pretty. What you want to do now is you gather all the threads and you snip off to where a little bit below where the shortest one is. Now I have gotten a little crazy with the snipping here and I made it a little too short on a few occasions. Then you want to find a lobster claw, clasp, and another jump ring. You know what, I'm going to use the same size as the other one. And you're going to grab your flat nose. You know what? Hold on. Let me just get rid of this. I didn't realize I left that there. garbage. You're going to open another jump ring. You're going to put your lobster clasp in, and then the little tassel, and you're going to close it. And you're going to secure it so it doesn't come off. And there you go. You have a very pretty tassel to add to your pocket letters, your mini albums, your altered projects, whatever it is that you like to do. And I am just in love with tassel making. I don't know what it is. And you know what I was thinking? This would be a great little piece to add to maybe a graduation card. If, I don't know if you guys have seen those sequins where they have the years. Let's say you have a graduate for 2016. You might be able to maybe hot glue it somewhere around the tassel and just use this on a card to decorate for a graduate this year. Maybe someone from college, from high school, whatever it is. Just tassels remind me of, they remind most people of graduation. It reminds me of curtains. I don't know why. I just think of curtains when I look at tassels. I just love tassels. I don't know what the heck it is about the tassels that I love, but I do. So yeah, guys, that's my tutorial for tassel making. Again, I want to share with you a few more of the ones I made. Now, I will say before I leave you that if you do choose to use the iris threads and the prism ones, as opposed to these stringier threads, you can get a lot more fancy about the stones and the beads that you use. For instance, I used the spacer ones on several. Oh, this one. Look at that. Look at that little owl there on the top. Isn't he the cutest? Well, honey, that hole was so tiny. OMG. Yeah, it was. And then with my fingers, oh my. But I got him in. I would not have been able to get him in with the other threads, though. I can tell you that right now. It would not happen. I definitely needed this prism thread. So that's just another example. You can use those kind of little spacer beads. You can use the butterfly ones, like the ones I have here. Yeah, bring out all those little beads you've had in your stash, if you haven't used them in a bit, and start making some tassels. I hope this helped some of you and inspired some of you out there who are thinking of making tassels. I know when I was thinking of making tassels, the only video that I found was Little Hot Tamale, and then just recently I found the unknown authors. So this is why I think it's so important for us to share, so that the more we know, the more we can share with others. And had it not been for those two ladies, I would not have my tassels. So if you do decide to make some tassels, share your videos and your findings. Maybe there's some tricks that you've come across that you can share that might make my life a lot easier making these tassels as well. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a very blessed weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.